Do you know how bread is made? It's made from the seeds of corn. This machine is cutting corn. The seeds are separated from the stalks and sent to a mill to be made into flour. At the mill, the seeds are crushed by big rollers. Crushing the seeds turns them into flour. Here's another machine. It sieves the flour to make it fine. Bakers need flour to make bread. This baker is weighing flour for some loaves. He needs salt and fat too. He adds them to the flour in the big bowl. First the salt, then the fat. Now he's going to use a machine to mix the flour, salt and fat together. This is yeast. Yeast makes bubbles in bread. The baker weighs the yeast. Then he breaks it up. He crumbles it. Next, he puts the yeast into warm water and stirs it. It's time to add the yeast to the mixing bowl. The machine will mix everything together to make dough. Look how springy the dough is. Now the dough must be left to rest so that the yeast can begin to work. The yeast makes bubbles of air in the dough. It makes the dough get bigger. Look what the baker does next. He's making sure there are no very big bubbles in the dough. He's kneading it. Then he cuts and weighs the dough to make loaves. Look how he shapes the pieces of dough with his hands. But the dough isn't ready to be baked yet. If the baker baked the loaves straight away, they will be small and hard. He has to let the yeast work some more. It's called proving. The baker shapes the loaves he wants to bake. Do you know the name for this kind of loaf? It's called a cottage loaf. This one's different. The baker uses 4 long rolls of dough. He joins them together at one end, then he crosses the pieces over one another. He's made a plait. This is the oven where the bread will be baked. It's very hot inside. The baker uses a long wooden pole to push the bread into the hot oven. The heat inside the oven makes the dough rise again. It gets bigger. Then the loaves start to turn brown. The hot oven is baking the bread. The baker tests the loaves to make sure they're baked. He can tell if they're ready by the sound they make when he taps them. There are the cottage loaves, all crisp and brown. They're ready to go to the baker's shop to be sold. Look, there's a plait. Lots of the bread we eat is made in big bakeries by machines. Let's look at the machines making bread. Bakers don't only make bread, they make cakes too. Here's a special cake from Stop, Look, Listen.